Jai Hind everyone. My name is Mamta Pant and I'm working as an assistant professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad in IT department. Today we are going to discuss some data types we are used in Python. Basically, let's start it. Basically, we have two types of data in any languages. One is built-in and other one is user-defined. Two types of data we used in any language. First one is your built-in data type, second one is your user-defined data type. Built-in data type are those data types which are defined by the programming language itself in its library or in its inbuilt functions, and user-defined data types are those data types which user-defined for its convenience, for its structure or something else. So today we are going to discuss built-in data types we are using in Python programming language. So what are the data types? Data types are the classification or categorization of data elements. Think it as like I have a variable A and I am given 10 value to variable A. So 10 is the data and its type is integer. Now you understand, this is 10 is the value and its 10 is the data and its type is integer. So this integer is known as data type of this value. So types are basically the categorization of the data we are using in our programming language or in our script. Next, it represents the kind of values that tells what operations can be performed on a particular data. It tells that what operation we have to perform a data structure. For example, if we want to use this operation, this is known an additional operation. This is a plus symbol, that's it. If we are using this plus symbol for two integer values, then this is known as addition symbol. If the same symbol we are using for two strings, for example, hi plus word. If we are using this plus symbol for a string, then this plus is known as concatenation for two strings. So if we are using this plus in integer, then it is known as plus operation. If we are using this plus symbols in string, then it is known as concatenation operation. So basically data types define the operation which we are going to perform. Next, since everything is an object in the Python programming language, data types are actually classes and variables are the instances. So data types like int, char, which you have studied in first year, these both are the classes of particular data types classes, and the variables A, B, C, these are the instances of these classes. In Python, we have the following types of data type, built-in data types in Python. These 8 are. Somewhere you may see that we have 5 data types in Python. Why? Because some authors written these 3 data types as sequence type and further subdivided into 3 classes like list, tuple and string. Let's discuss them one by one. Your first built-in data type is none. What is the none? You have studied about null values. What are those values? Null values are those values which are missing in our data, is represented by null values. This is different from zeros and white spaces. Null is a different value from the zero and white spaces, and it is represent that currently I don't have the data in this field. So we have used C, C++, this value in C, C++, Java languages, but this is replaced by none keyword in Python. In the place of null, I have to use none keyword in Python programming language. None is an immutable object that represent an empty value, that I have missing the values. Other programming languages such as JavaScript, C#, ETS use null instead of none. The none object can be used in many ways. One of the way is to initialize a variable. We can initialize variable with the help of none value that will be assigned a value later in the program. This helps us to verify the variable's value and take appropriate decision on the basis of null. Let's have an example of none. This is the example of none keyword. Here I am checking that my key or my password is set to the data or not. Initially I have the value of key is none. Okay, now I am setting my key values. So initially I have to check if my key is none, only then. If my key is none, only then I have to set the key, otherwise let it be. Check, it will check that my key value is none. Yes, key value is none. This statement will not execute it. The else statement will be executed and it will print, sorry, initially the key value is none. So this if statement will execute and this will print key has not been set yet, seen in the output, the first statement. Next, in the very next line, I have I set the value for key some integer number, and now next I will check if key is none. Now my key value is not none. This is some integer number, so this statement will not execute it, else statement will be executed and it will print key has been set, the second statement. So like that I can set the value of key or password or anything else. Your next data type is numeric type. You all know about the numeric data type relate to the integers 0 or 1 in the form of. So in Python, numeric data type represent the data which has the numeric value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, float, complex, boolean, something like that. Numeric value can be integer, float, or even complex number. So numeric number will be classified into 4 categories. One is your integers, other one is your floating point values, third is your complex number, and fourth one is your boolean value. In integer we have just 0 to 9 digit from 0 to 9 without decimal points, and if I have some value in decimal point, then I will declare it as floating point number like 5.9. Here I can see 1, 2, 3 some values like integers. Okay, next is your complex number. Complex number would be in the form of a plus ij. Complex number will be in the form of a plus ij, like 2 plus 3j, real plus imaginary part. Next is your boolean. Boolean have two numbers, 0 and 1. 0 for false, 1 for true. So this is the example of numeric type, numeric data type. Type function, we have studied in first lecture that type function is used to determine the type of data in Python programming language. So if I have a is equals to 5, I am checking the type of a. What would be the type of a? Integer. This is type of a integer. Next, the value of b is 5.0. This is decimal value. So this will go into the floating point number. So type will be float. And next, c is equals to 2 plus 4j. This is in the form of complex number. So type of c would be complex. Next data type is list. You have studied about array. What are the array in C programming language? Basically, array is the collection of elements or items stored at a continuous memory location of same data type. So definition of array is collection of, this is the definition of array in C. You have studied that it is a collection of element of same data type stored at contiguous memory location. So basically, list in our Python is equal to array in other programming languages. List is also collection of elements, but here is the change in the definition of list. The elements of the list may be of same data type or may be of different data types. It is not necessary that they should be is of same data type, and they are also stored at a contiguous memory location. So what is the definition of list? Lists are just like the arrays declared in other languages, which is a ordered collection of data. It is very flexible. What is the meaning of flexible? Is that the list item do not need to be of same data type. Here is the example of the list. This is a example of blank list. I can also take blank list as an input. Next is the list hello Python. This is a list of type string. Next, how are you? These are three different strings. So the list containing multiple values, and this is also a list. Here you can see this is a list and this is another list and this is third list. So here I am using list inside another list. So this is known as multi-dimensional list or list inside list or nested list. This concept is known as nested list. Next is your string. What is the string? You have studied about the character in C programming language. It is any symbol which is represented in the form of this is known as character. So string is the collection of characters. String is the collection of characters. Here string is also a data type. In Python, strings are array of bytes representing Unicode characters. Unicodes are similar to the ASCII codes. So all ASCII or Unicode are represented using with the help of string in Python data type. Now here, this is the definition of a string. A string is a collection of one or more characters put in a single quotes, double quotes or triple quotes. Here you can see these are the examples of a string. Second example, I have put my string in single quotes. In A, I have put my string in double quotes. And in third example, I have put my string in triple quotes. Now, what is the reason behind that? If my work is done with the help of single quotes, then why I have to take an overburden of double quotes and triple quotes? So there is a reason behind the three representation of a string is that for example, I wanted to print hello. So I will put it in single quote. So I will put it in single quotes. I will get the output hello. Now I wanted to print Naveen's laptop like this. Naveen's laptop. I want this as it is in output screen. So if I use single quotes for this string representation, then interpreter consider this as opening and this is considered as closing. So interpreter consider only Naveen as a string and give error for this part. So to skip this error, I may use double quotes here to represent this in my output screen. If I use double quotes here, so interpreter will think this as initialization of the string and this is end of the string and it will print Naveen's laptop. And if I wanted to print double quotes inside my string, then I will put my string in triple single quotes. So that's why we have for string. Next is your tuple. What is the tuple? Tuple and string list are same. List is equals to tuple or tuple is equals to string. Now, what is the difference between list? Both are the collections of elements or objects, maybe same type of maybe different type at contiguous memory location. Definition of both data type are same, but a difference is that list is mutable and tuple is immutable. Now, what is the meaning of mutable? Mutable means can change. And immutable means cannot change. Cannot change. Now, what does it mean? It means that if I declared a list L is equals to 1, 2, 3. I declared this list. If in future I wanted to change some element, for example, the second element of my list, so I can do changes in my already existing list. L is equals to 1, 5, 3. This is possible in case of list. Why? Because list is mutable. I can change in it. But in case of tuple, tuple is represented with square bracket. For example, I have declared a tuple T having values 1, 2, 3 and I wanted to change in this second element. I wanted to make it 1, 5, 3. This will give an error because once you have declared a tuple, it cannot be changed in the future. So this is the definition of tuple. The only difference tuple and is that tuples are immutable. That is, tuple cannot be modified after it is created. It represented by tuple class. Here is some examples of tuple. It is represented by round brackets. Next is your set. Now, what is the set? Why we use the set and when we prefer the set? Set basically is the collection of elements. This is also same. Now, we have listened two terms: list, tuple and set. All three are collection of elements. List is a collection of element, tuple is a collection of element, set is a collection of element. Now, list is a collection of element which are mutable, means we can change its value in future. And tuple is a collection of element of immutable, means we cannot change its value once it is defined. Now, what is set? Set is also a collection of elements. Now, what is the difference between this list and this set? Suppose I wanted to take lecture in a classroom, for example, room number 1, and I have 100 students. I will call the student one by one and say, please sit as fast as possible so that I can start my lecture. So, when I am taking my lecture, I will prefer speed. When I am taking my lecture, I will prefer to the speed that student come fastly and I can start my lecture as soon as possible. But the same scenario will not apply to the exam center. For example, I am taking the exam in room number 1, then what will be the preference of my for coming the student according to their order of roll number. When I am taking exam in the same classroom, I will prefer that student will come according to their order or according to their roll number. So, when I am focusing more on order, here I will use the list. If I am focusing on speedily fetch of data, then I will use set data type. So basically set is what? Unique, unordered, unchangeable, unindexed collection of element. What is the meaning of unique? Duplicacy is not allowed in the set. You can put duplicate value in the set, but it will treat it as a single set, single element. Unordered means it is not stored at continuous memory location. Unchangeable means it is immutable. Once a set is declared, it cannot be changed. Unindexed means if it is not stored at contiguous memory location, that I cannot index its element properly. So here are some examples of sets like fruits: apple, banana and cherry. If I am printing fruits, I will get an output like this: banana, cherry and apple. Now you will say, how it is possible? I have apple at first place, but what you have studied that sets elements are unordered. They are saved at scattered memory location. So whatever element I will get first, I will print that element. Whatever element I will get at second position, I will print this. And irrespective of their index number in the defined position. In next, we have 4 elements. But here apple and apple are repeat 2 times. So set will ignore this. Interpreter will ignore this apple and save all these 3 elements. These are some more examples of sets. Next is the range function. What is the range function? Basically, when we have a huge amount of domain and I want a specified values from that huge amount of domain, then I will use range function. For example, how many integer numbers are exist? Infinite. And I want only 100. I want only that 100 number from this infinite domain. So I will use range function for this purpose. This is also used in looping programming. Range function returns sequence of given number between the given range. Range is a built-in function in Python and also a data type of Python. It is used when a user needs to perform action a specified number of times. In Python 3.x, it will represented by range function, and in Python 2x, it will represented by xRange function. The range function is used to generate a sequence of numbers and commonly used to iterate sequence type. Its basic use is for iteration of sequence type. Sequence type means list, tuple and string. This is only in Python, not in other programming language. We can convert range into a list, so we can print it. Here is we have three syntax of range function. First, if we want, we have domain of integer is infinite. But if I want only initial 10 number from this infinite domain, so I will use range function like range 10. The output of this range 10 will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why 9? Why not 10? Because range function will work 0 to n minus 1. So this will work till 9. If I want 10 numbers, but I wanted to start from number 5 and after that I want 10 number, then I will use syntax number 2. How? Okay, range. I wanted to start from 5 and I wanted to end at 50. So the output of this range function will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. Okay, this is the second syntax of range function. Now, third syntax of range function is still I want 10 numbers started from the 5 number and at a jump of 2 numbers. I want 5, jump of to 7, jump of to 9, such that I wanted to print number such that, so I will use range function like starting from 5, ending at 25 and at a jump of 2. The output of this range syntax will be 5. It will skip 6 and jump to the 7, skip 8 and jump to the 9, 11 and till 24. This will be the output of this following range function. So according to our convenience, according to our action, we will use one of the range function according to our convenience or use. Next is our dictionary or map. We have studied about the list. What is the list? List is a collection of elements, maybe different type or maybe same data types. So if I wanted to store student name like Rahul, Anjali, Sachin, I wanted to store these 3 students' names. So I may use list because list is a collection of element. I can store these 3 names into a list. And we have their marks in DBMS like out of 100, 70, 80 and 90. Now, if I wanted to store their marks in DBMS out of 100, 70, 80, 90, then I can also use a second list. In list T1, I may store the name of the student, and in list T2, I may store the marks they are getting in DBMS out of 100. But now, if I wanted to store that Rahul get 70 marks, Anjali get 80 marks, Sachin get 90 marks. If I wanted to store data in the form of element or mapping data, mapping means two different data map with each other. The marks 70 belongs to Rahul and Rahul belongs to the 70 marks. If I wanted to store these related elements, then I may use dictionary or mapping in the form of key value pair. This is key and value pair. Key will be the T1 and value pair would be the T2. So I may store this statement like this: Rahul colon 70 comma Anjali colon 80 and so on. So basically dictionary is an ordered collection of data value used to store data values like map, which unlike other data type that holds only single value as an element. Dictionary hold key value pair. Next is your type conversion. Type conversion is used to convert data types from one data to another data. One is implicit, second one is explicit. If our interpreter implicitly change my data type, then it is known as implicit data type. If user explicitly change its data type, then it is known as explicit data type. Thank you for today. Jai Hind.